So over the last few weeks I've been rewatching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I've managed to get myself back up to the Future Trunks and the Android side of Dragon Ball Z, and I decided to set myself a challenge to try and work out exactly how the timelines work, because it's something that no one's really sort of, I feel anyway, properly explained it all, at least in a way that's not too confusing. So what I've decided to do here, I know it's not the most pretty thing to look at, but I've decided to break the timelines down into a little table on Word. As you can see, I've broken this down into 7 different timelines. I believe that's all the Dragon Ball timeline breaks down to, including all the stuff in Dragon Ball Super. Timeline 1 is the original series of events, where we watch the action, is in Timeline 5. And then we've got all the changes here, so I'm going to go through exactly what I think's happened, and see if we can break down the timeline. And obviously drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think, because it's taken me a long time to try and piece all this together, going over different episodes of the anime, reading the manga again, and stuff like that. And I think I've got this down to exactly how it is, but obviously if you've got any differing opinions, drop them in the comment section below and we'll get a discussion going. So that's age 763 here. I've put nothing happens because in the original series of events, nothing happens. As you'll see later on, I believe stuff does end up happening in age 763, but in the original timeline, it's nothing happens. They're waiting for Goku to come back. So, age 764, we've got things as they normally do. Frieza and King Cold arrive on Earth, and in the original timeline, Goku kills them. He uses the instantaneous movement to get from Yardrat to get to Earth, and kills them. However, because Trunks has not visited this timeline yet, in age 766, Goku dies of a heart virus. So that's the original series of events. Androids 17 and 18 wake up and kill Dr. Gero. The androids kill the Z-Warriors. Now I've got 778, 779 and 788, the androids continuing the crusade, because at this point Trunks is growing up and Gohan's training him. Age 782, the androids kill Gohan, so very early you can see this is very similar to the Future Trunks timeline, but it's not specifically Future Trunks' timeline, which you'll see as we get through it. Bulma finishes the time machine in age 784. Trunks travels to age 764 in timeline 2, and that's where we're going to leave this timeline for now, because Trunks has moved back in time, so this is all happening before the rest of the stuff in this table. So that timeline 2, again, nothing happens in age 763, as with every timeline, Frieza and King Cold arrive on Earth. However, this time, Trunks from the original timeline is the one who kills them. Goku still dies of the heart virus though, because if he doesn't, the rest of the timeline doesn't make any sense. So it's safe to deduce that in the Cell's timeline, Goku dies of a heart virus. As you can see, this is the Cell we know. This is Cell's timeline. We all know how this is going to end up. Androids 17 and 18 wake up and kill Dr. Gero. The androids then kill the Z-Warriors, because without Goku, there's no one there to really protect them. And Goku obviously is the main catalyst for the androids getting the upper hand in the war. Again, androids continuing their crusade. Androids kill Gohan. Trunks, from this timeline, timeline 2, goes to age 764 in timeline 3. It's safe to assume that Trunks from the original timeline does not head back to this timeline, because otherwise he would have been a differentiating factor in the timeline. So for whatever reason, it's safe to assume Trunks from the original timeline does not head back here after the initial warning. He probably assumes, warn them about the androids, I can lead them to it. Again, this timeline will play out. Cell does not escape from this timeline. I don't know whether Trunks is dead in the original timeline. It's possible that Trunks didn't know about Cell and Cell killed him. Maybe the time machine didn't exist. Maybe they destroyed the time machine after Trunks realised there was no reason to go back. But for whatever reason, it's safe to assume Cell does not escape from this timeline. So otherwise, we'd have another Cell running around and we wouldn't know where he goes. So it's safe to assume Cell does not escape from this timeline. So Trunks from timeline 2. Again, this is very confusing. I'm going to try and explain this the best I can. Trunks from timeline 2, the one who was born in this timeline, goes to age 764 in timeline 3, as he does, you know, when all of his friends are dead, he will create another timeline to go back into the past. So it's safe to assume Trunks from this timeline heads to the timeline, creates a new timeline, timeline 3. In this timeline, Frieza and King Cold arrive on Earth again. Trunks kills them, this time the one from timeline 2, and gives Goku the heart medicine this time. The Z-Warriors are in training by age 766. Age 767, the androids wake up and kill Dr. Gero, as they do in every timeline. The Z-Warriors, it's safe to assume, kill the androids. So we don't really know what happens in the years between these things. It's probably safe to assume the Battle of God stuff also happens in this timeline as well. Maybe, I don't know. There's no indication to say that that's the case, but there's also nothing stopping Beerus from waking up and looking for Super Saiyan God around that time. Trunks from Timeline 2 gets the android schematics, takes them to Timeline 2. It's safe to assume that's the case, because somehow the androids are dead in Cell's timeline, but so are the Z-Warriors, so it's safe to assume that the detonation device is how Trunks kills them. However, as we all know, this is the timeline we see in the Cell saga. Cell kills Trunks and goes and creates, I've said timeline 2 there, it's timeline 4, creates future Trunks' timeline, because you see here, everything up to this point has wrapped everything up in a nice little package. You've got everyone safe, you've got the androids dead, okay, yeah, you've got the androids dead, and there's no real reason for future Trunks' timeline to be created. So by this point, Cell's created Timeline 4, because Timeline 3 already existed. Cell kills Trunks, goes back in time because Cell did not exist in Timeline 3, creates Timeline 4 where Cell exists. So Timeline 4, we've got Future Trunks' saga. This is Future Trunks' timeline, this is the one we all know and love. Or don't love. Frieza and King Cola got arrived on Earth, and Goku kills them. Goku dies of the heart virus because there's no future Trunks to go back in time to tell him about this. There's no future Trunks that has a timeline that needs correcting at this point, because everything's sort of wrapped up apart from the whole Cell situation. Androids 17 and 18 wake up and kill Dr. Gero, as they always do. The androids kill the Z-Warriors. I'll put here presumably Cell 2 dies at this point, because I'm going to get to why I think that in a minute, because there is no Cell present in future Trunks' timeline, at least not one that came from the future. And we know that the Cell did not just go from Timeline 2 to the main timeline, because, well, that's completely skipping out from future Trunks' timeline. I think Cell travelling back in time is what creates future Trunks' timeline. I don't know whether Cell dies as a chrysalis or what happens there, but by age 767, Cell presumably would have woken up and started looking for the androids. The androids exist for about 20 years after this, so there's no real reason why the Cell from Timeline 2 did not find the androids, and there's no indication to say that he went back in time again, because that would have created another timeline anyway. And Timeline 5 was created by a different event, so presumably Cell's killed at some point before he can mature like he does in the main timeline. So we've got here, androids are on a crusade during all this time. Androids kill Gohan. Bulma finishes the time machine. Trunks travels back in time to age 764 in the main timeline. And because this is where the timeline splits, everything before this point gets copied and pasted into Timeline 5, which means that Cell, being in the history of this timeline, pastes in the history of this timeline. So these are the same Cell, but logically speaking, the Cell from this timeline gets copied and pasted into the timeline here. So that's kind of how I've interpreted the time travel of this scenario. So that's why I say presumably Cell 2 was killed in this timeline at some point by something, because he does not show up in age 767 like he should have. And it's Cell travelling back in time from this timeline that creates future Trunks' timeline itself, because I can't see anything else that will create that timeline, because everything else is wrapped up here. There's no future Trunks to go back in time, there's nothing else that knows with the timeline. So that has to be what creates future Trunks' timeline here. There's a lot of speculation here, but I'm trying to work it out. Obviously, if you see any glaring holes in this, drop it in the comment section below. So future Trunks travels back in time to the main timeline. As we all know, as we've all seen in the anime, Frieza and King Cold arrive on Earth, and Trunks from Timeline 4 kills them. Warns them about the androids, gives Goku the heart medicine. Goku does not die in the main timeline, they're all training. Androids, I've skipped out androids 20 and 19, but we all know the situation with them. Androids 17 and 18 wake up and kill Dr. Gero. Cell wakes up and absorbs the androids. Gohan kills Cell. We've now got the Battle of God stuff. At this point, everything's sort of wrapped up. Future Trunks goes back to his timeline and kills Cell. Everything's kind of wrapped up at this point. We've got the Battle of God saga, Resurrection F saga. here's where it starts to split. In the main timeline, Zamasu kills Gowasu, because that has to be the catalyst that creates timeline 6. Because nothing else would create that timeline. We all know Beerus kills Zamasu. I'm going to get to that later. But I think in the main timeline, Zamasu kills Gowasu, which creates timeline 6. Which is exactly the same. It's copy and pasted. Everything's copy and pasted from the last timeline. So because timeline 5 is what's being copied here to create timeline 6. The cell situation, all this stuff from timeline 5 is copied into timeline 6. The difference here is that when Zamasu goes to timeline 6, he swaps bodies with Goku and kills Goten and Chi-Chi. Then he travels in time to age 796 in timeline 4, Future Trunks' saga. That's when Goku Black shows up, and the Battle of Goku Black happens. And Zamasu is the Zamasu from Future Trunks' saga, from Future Trunks' timeline. Zamasu kills Gowasu in this timeline as well, because there's no Beerus to stop him. And that's when Goku Black and Zamasu have their little team up. In the main timeline, Trunks comes back in time and asks Goku and Vegeta for help against Goku Black. Obviously, Beerus gets involved. Beerus and Whis go to Universe 10 to try and investigate Zamasu. And I think that's the catalyst that creates Timeline 7. And because all these things happened in Timeline 5 and Timeline 6, they get copied and pasted in Timeline 7. So all this stuff still happens, you know. Trunks from Timeline 4 still shows up to kill Frieza and King Cold. Zero is trained, the androids wake up and kill Gero. Cell absorbs the androids, Gohan kills Cell. All this stuff still happens. The difference is, Beerus kills Zamasu. That's the difference. That's the thing that changes the timeline. That's what creates Timeline 7. And then obviously Zeno erases Future Trunks' timeline, landing him and Mai in Timeline 5. And then Whis tells them all about another timeline where they can live. And I believe that that is Timeline 7. So, I've run through this very fast. I think I've done this in the chronological order, exactly where the timelines split off, and exactly why and where they're different. So that's kind of what I've come up with. It's not scientific at all, it's stuff I've grabbed from the anime, it's stuff I've grabbed from the manga, it's stuff that we already know how the timeline works. We know that when you go back in time, you create a new timeline based on the changes you've made. You don't change the future. And everything that's happened up to the point you go back to happens the way it would have happened. Which is why I've got Cell living underground in all these other timelines. That happens after that point. The only way that's going to change is if someone goes back in time to before age 763 and stops Cell, which never happens at any point. So in every one of these timelines, Cell being underground and arriving a year before Frieza and King Cold just gets copied and pasted in every new timeline that's created after that. So, you know, when the Goku Black saga aired, a lot of people were saying it was a plot hole, it was really complicating the timeline, and I agree it complicated things, but I think I've broken it down to a point where it makes sense. And if this doesn't make sense, please let me know in the comment section below. I know video responses aren't a thing anymore on YouTube, but respond to this video if you really want to. But I really think I've got this down to a T. So let me know what you think, drop a like in the like section, I guess, drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get a discussion going, so I really think I've worked this out. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.